Hello friends. So in the last lecture we have discussed different types of force systems which are acting on the uh, rigid bodies, and in this lecture we are going to discuss how to calculate the resultant of these force systems. That is, our target is to replace this number of forces by a single force. So first let us try to understand what is a resultant. Resultant of two or n number of forces is a single force which will produce the same effect as it is produced by all forces acting together. This resultant is denoted by R, or you can say it is a single force which can replace the number of forces and produce the same effect. Now you can see this trolley. On this trolley there are three forces acting: 1 Newton, second is 2 Newton, third is 3 Newton. So these three forces in the second trolley, I can replace it by a single force having magnitude of 6 Newton. So the net effect produced by these three forces will be same as the net effect produced by this single force. This is called as a resultant. This is very important. Now there are different methods of finding out the resultant. Some methods they have theoretical importance, and some methods practically we are going to implement. But at least the basic fundamental of each method you must know. Broadly, there are two methods. One is a graphical method. Second is analytical method. Now in graphical methods, we can use triangle law of forces, we can use polygon law of forces, and in analytical methods, as in the last lecture we have discussed 5 fundamental principles of engineering mechanics, out of which this one principle, law of parallelogram of forces, this also we can use it to find out the resultant. But in this, if the number of forces increases, then calculations will increase. So I will just introduce with the help of parallelogram of forces, and then we'll switch over to the last method, that is method of resolution. This is very simple method. If you have n number of forces acting on a body or object, you will get answer only in 3 steps. Remember, and that's why we will study all these methods. But practically for solution of numerical problems, we are going to implement only method of resolution. Other methods it's okay, but calculations will increase, it will take more time. So to avoid that, we are going to use only method of resolution. Now before we go for these methods, let us try to understand how to represent a force graphically. You see, at this point O, this force F of 25 kilonewton is acting, and it has made an angle of 30 degree with the horizontal. So to represent it graphically, you can take a scale. Suppose I will take a scale of 1 centimeter equal to 5 kilonewton, and you draw a line which will be parallel to the line of action of this force F, and the length of the line will be how much? 5 centimeter, because 25 divided by 5, the length will get 5 centimeter, and the direction also will remain same. So in this way, this force F 25 kilonewton, I have represented it graphically. And later on, if you measure this line, that is 5 centimeter, if you multiply it by 5, because scale is 1 centimeter equals to 5, you will get 25 into 5, 25 kilonewton. That is the magnitude of the force. This is the way by which you can represent the forces graphically. This will be useful in to understand graphical methods, triangle law of forces, polygon law of forces. Now let us come to the triangle law of forces. Now in triangle law of forces, you see here at this point O, there are two forces that are acting at a point and away from it. This force is F1 is horizontal, F2 is inclined, angle is alpha. So these two forces, if they are represented graphically by the sides of a triangle, you see F1 I have represented graphically, F2 I have represented graphically, then the closing line of a triangle BO gives the resultant of these two forces F1 and F2 both in magnitude and direction. This is called triangle law of forces. But remember, when we'll go in order, you see in anti-clockwise, O small a will represent F1, then A to B will represent F2, and I will join the closing line. So when you will join the closing line, for resultant, we'll have to take the direction in reverse order, clockwise from O to B. This line, if you measure this line and multiply it by scale, you will get resultant both in magnitude as well as in direction. This is a triangle law of forces. Now next one is polygon law of forces. Now in polygon law of forces, instead of two forces, you will find there are five forces: F1, F2, F3, F4 and F5. These are the five forces acting at a point and away from it. And if these forces are represented by the sides of a polygon, then this closing line OE gives the resultant of these five forces both in magnitude as well as in direction. Now you see, this F1 I have represented graphically, F2 I have represented graphically, F3, F4, F5, okay. And then this is the closing line. You see, we are going in anti-clockwise, but for closing line, we'll have to go in reverse order. O to E, O to E. This is the resultant. This is the resultant. So this line OE, if you measure and multiply it by scale, you will get magnitude of resultant as well as the direction of the resultant. This is called polygon law of forces. Okay. So these both methods, triangle law, polygon law, they are graphical methods, and that's why they have certain limitation that if you plot it accurately, then only you will get correct results. Otherwise, there will be some error in the results. That is not the case in case of analytical methods. So analytical methods, as I told, first we'll see the law of parallelogram of forces. So what is the law of parallelogram of forces? First you see, if two forces acting at a point, you see this is point, two forces that are acting F1 and F2 and away from it, and if they are represented by the sides of a parallelogram, you see this is one side of parallelogram, this is the other side of parallelogram, and if you form a parallelogram, then the diagonal of the parallelogram gives the resultant of these two forces both in magnitude and direction. So very simple. Now this F1 I will take it as a force P, F2 I will take it as a force Q. I will form a parallelogram like this. Okay, this is Q, okay, and this is P, because this force is P, this side and this side they are same. So this alpha is an angle made by angle between the two forces, and theta is angle made by this diagonal, that is a resultant with force P. So this angle alpha, this line and this line they are parallel, and that's why this is also alpha. This is a this is a q, and that's why this is also q. So if I resolve it, this component it comes q cos alpha, and this component it comes q sin alpha, and magnitude of the resultant will be p square plus q square plus 2 times pq cos alpha, and this I know you studied in your 12th. What will be the direction of the resultant? If I take this theta, tan of theta, tan of theta, so tan of theta will be this side, q sin alpha, q sin alpha divided by this total side. This total side how much? Up to this it is p plus q cos alpha, where theta is the angle made by the resultant with the force P. This you must understand. Okay. Now based on what we studied now, graphical methods and one analytical method, that is law of parallelogram of forces. Method of resolution that we'll discuss in the next lecture. So based on this, let us see the numerical problem. Two forces are applied as shown to a hook. This is a hook, and this force 900 Newton makes an angle 30 degree, and this another force 600 Newton, angle between these two forces is 45. Determine the magnitude and direction of the resultant using law of parallelogram of forces. So consider P is a 900, Q is 600 Newton, and angle, don't consider this angle, this is the angle between these two forces, and how much it is? 45. So magnitude of resultant R will be P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos alpha. So 900 square plus 600 square plus 2 times 900 into 600 into cos 45 is angle between these two forces. So you will get a resultant 1390.56 Newton. And direction of the resultant will be tan of theta q sin alpha. Q is a 600, sin 45, 900 plus 600 cos 45. You will get 0.320, and hence if you take a inverse of tan, you will get angle 17.76. So this angle will be with respect to 900. So from 900 anticlockwise, the resultant direction of the resultant will be 17.76, and with respect to x-axis, if you add 30 plus 17.76, you will get resultant with horizontal is 47.76. So in this way, we have calculated the magnitude of the resultant, and also we have calculated the angle made by the resultant with the x-axis in this numerical example. I hope you understand. The next example, a stake is pushed into the ground. Okay, a stake is being pulled out the ground by means of two ropes as shown. Determine the magnitude of the resultant R if P is 101.4 Newton and the resultant force exerted on the stake is vertical. So this is 120 and this is given 101.4 Newton. This angle is 30, this angle is 25. So total angle, how much it comes? 55. Alpha it comes 55. So substitute the values. R equals to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos alpha. 101.4 square plus 120 square plus 2 times 101.4 into 120 into cos 55. You will get resultant 196.56 Newton. Similarly, direction tan of theta Q, that is 120 sin alpha 55, P is 101.4, Q is 120 cos alpha cos 45.5774. Take tan inverse, you will get 30 degree. So direction of the resultant from this P, because this angle theta as per the law of parallelogram of forces, it is with respect to force P, 30 degree. So what it shows, the resultant is exactly vertical, acting vertical. Resultant is acting vertically upward direction. I hope it's clear to you. Let us discuss the third example. Two forces are applied to an eye bolt fastened to a beam. This is a beam and the bolt is a hook. To this hook, determine the magnitude and direction of the resultant. This is 4.5. This is 6. This angle is 50. This is 25. So angle between the two forces is 75. 75. Again, repeat the same process. P square plus Q square plus 2 PQ cos alpha, 6 square plus 4.5 square plus 2 into 6 into 4.5 cos 75. You will get resultant 8.380 Newton. Similarly, you can find out the direction tan theta, Q sin alpha. Q, we are taking, this is P and this is Q. So 4.5 sin 75 divided by 6 plus Q is 4.5 cos 75. You will get this value 0.6, not 6. So theta will be equals to 31.24 with respect to this P. With respect to this P. So from this angle of the resultant, suppose resultant is like this. This angle will be how much? 31.24. Total angle is 50 with respect to x-axis. So from 50, if you deduct 31.24, you will get angle made by the resultant with horizontal is 18.75. So resultant will be like this, and this will be the angle made by the resultant. So I hope today you understand the methods of estimation of the resultant. I will summarize just in 30 seconds. Graphical methods, there is a triangle law of forces, second one is polygon law of forces, and in analytical methods we have studied very simple method, that is law of parallelogram of forces. So with the help of law of parallelogram of forces, two forces we can replace it by single force. Now if there are three forces acting on a body, then first we will have to consider two forces, replace them by one, then consider that resultant third force and then replace it by resultant. So we will have to repeat the process twice, and that is what I told in the beginning, that this law of parallelogram of forces calculations will be lengthy, and that's why in the next lecture I am going to discuss the next analytical method, that is called method of resolution, which is very simple, very powerful, and in spite of n number of forces, that method will give you answer, as I told, only in 3 steps. So I hope you enjoyed today's lecture, and you will take interest in the subject. If you take interest, subject is not difficult at all. I will try to see that you will understand each and every things. So this is all for today. Have a good day. Thank you very much.